surprises are a bummer, right? Information, like, don't be shy to tell the prospective tenant everything. Like, I want to know. I don't want any surprises. I don't want to walk in and be like, oh, the SkyTrain is going right past my window. That's either going to be okay or not okay. Surprises are a bummer, right?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bamboo, Vancouver's property management and investment podcast. Since our podcast is on tenancy and landlords, we figured we should ask a tenant to come on and tell us what tenants are looking for and look at the quote-unquote other side, if you will. So, without further ado, Adrian, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
No worries, brother. And then Adrian actually used to be one of my tenants a long time ago, and now we're buddies. So look at that. Switch to the dark side. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're going to cover a couple things. Just mostly, like, as you've been a long time tenant, never owned a home before. So we want to see, as a longer term tenant, what are you looking for? What are green lights and red flags and that sort of stuff? So okay, yeah, whatever, to the best of your knowledge. Obviously, you don't speak for all tenants, but it's some good insight, and so hopefully the landlord's listening, and that will learn some stuff that they may be doing that's scaring away good tenants.
I think.
So yeah. So you've also lived renting in like Europe, England, as
right.
well as here.
That's right.
Are there any things from there or here that you wish were happening here that were happening in the UK, or is here as bad as people think it is? Like, what's the difference across the water?
They both had their challenges.
Yeah.
You know, I rented in London, England, which was an incredible. To compare it to here, is way more challenging. You're looking at rooms versus apartments.
Yeah,
you know, space is very limited there, so you would be doing room shares, and so a lot of the time I wouldn't be signing a lease. I would simply be responding to a personal ad for someone who had already signed a lease that was looking for someone to take over a room. So it was, in that sense, it was easier because I didn't have to go through the channels to actually lock down the place.
Yeah.
But it came with its challenges in terms of living with people and
I guess protections as well, right? Like,
big time. You were very, very vulnerable as a tenant, or at least that's how I felt in that space.
Okay.
You also paid I remember a place up in Leeds that I paid weekly. So I don't think it's a concept that's going to really catch on over here, but you got paid from your job weekly and you paid your rent weekly. So it was a little different. You could manage your finances on a very kind of instant level. Like, this is what I'm getting paid. This is what I'm budgeting for. I liked that, but again, I don't know if that's going to.
Yeah,
that's going to shtick over here.
Yeah, I don't know if that would fly too much over here, eh?
Yeah.
So when you're searching for a rental here, we'll focus on, Greater Vancouver and that.
Yeah.
What is sticking out for you the most when you were searching, both positive and negative? So like, you get onto wherever. I mean, hell, let's start off with, where are you starting your search? Is it primarily on Facebook? Are you starting off on Craigslist, or?
Yeah.
And from there, like, when you're searching, what stood out the most? Is it shitty pictures? Does it have a video?
Information. I find that, especially if it's either Craigslist has been something that I've used many different times, and now that now that the internet is bombarded, like you can find a lot on there. Information, like, don't be shy to tell the prospective tenant everything. Like, I want to know. I don't want any surprises.
Yeah,
basically, right? I don't want to walk in and be like, oh, the SkyTrain is going right past my window. That's either going to be okay or not okay. I think they
tell you before you show up.
Big time. Surprises are a bummer, right? There's also like different. There's the Adrian of 20 years old. And there's the Adrian right now sitting with you, 43. You know what I mean? I feel very much like that character Red from Shawshank Redemption, Morgan Freeman's character. At the beginning of his what do you call it? Not bail hearings. He's going for parole.
Yeah.
I said, yes, sir. I am rehabilitated. Like the 20-year-old Adrian is like, I will not hold any parties, and I'm absolutely going to be here and do everything and buy the book and right. And the 43-year-old version of myself is honest with the landlord as well. Like I'm probably going to be friends with my neighbors within a month.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a Super Bowl party, but it's going to be over at 10. Rather than try to pretend that things are. That I am, I don't know, the model.
Fake almost.
Yeah, I'm either going to suit your property or I'm not, and I'd like to be comfortable in your property.
Yeah, absolutely.
As myself. Right?
I understand that.
Yeah,
and it's actually a great segue there because you're talking about communicating really with your landlord and or your property manager. What makes you feel more comfortable and respected when there's that communication style? Because obviously things can get lost in translation via text.
Mm-hmm.
What constitutes a better cutoff for voice or text? What communication styles do you think would be the best way to go about it when dealing with the tenant?
Yeah, I feel like text is a little formal. It's different with you and I because we have a relationship outside of the tenancy. I feel like if I make a phone call, in the morning, that a response to that phone call should be warranted within 24 hours. You know what I mean?
And that's fair enough. Right?
I feel like for both parties, I've learned, at least from the tenancy part, that an email is the way to go because it documents your, if I'm reaching out about a leak, I know that I got to make a phone call. I know that that's not an email, but a bad example. But if I'm reaching out about a toilet having a constant drip, I want to worry about water. I document that in an email and send that off, and then it's the date that I sent it, and it
just makes it more recorded, I guess, right?
And I think I don't know, but I would imagine that as an owner or a property manager, you want to do that as well, right? You want to make sure you're covering your behind, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, it's funny that you mentioned about a phone call because it's a good idea to follow up your phone call with an email because what you mentioned is then on paper. So as a protection for you as a tenant is to, yes, if there's a flood, call the owner and say, hey, there's a flood, blah, 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 blah. You have to call the building manager, of course, as well to get them to turn off the water.
Sure.
That's your first call. But it's always a good idea to email them and say, further to our conversation this morning, we've contacted what you've done. I've contacted the building manager, blah, blah, blah. Because then you have a timestamp. So there's no push later on saying, oh, they didn't tell me about the flood for 4 hours. I called you at 9:06 and told you that.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a good idea to email even after a phone call just to follow up so that you have that as well as the owners. Because any owners, if you contact a tenant and say, hey, further to our 24-hour notice on your door, we're coming on February 4th or whatever.
Yeah.
There's multiple ways to cover it and make sure that, or even if they off the book didn't put up the 24-hour notice and just called you and you're like, yeah, sure, you can come on over. You can follow that up with that email saying, hey, we talked this morning. You said it was cool if I came over.
Yeah.
That way there's no he said, she said,
Yeah.
Didn't know, maybe I forgot.
Yeah, it's easy to forget, man. There can be a lot going on, and like as soon as that email is sent, it's okay. Boom! You wait for that ding on your phone or the icon to pop up on your computer, and it's. I like to get it over and done with.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess the most communication should be about both email and voice, and in a respectful manner, obviously, even when things go wrong.
Yeah, I mean, things are going to go wrong. They're gonna, and I think that addressing them as soon as possible, right? It's it's the old, if it's a broken light bulb versus a shower that's broken and leaking all over the place, that one is a phone call, the other is an email.
Yeah,
right. Like and then you're good, right? So
for sure, that makes sense. Yeah. So when we were talking about finding a place, obviously you said that communication is important within 24 hours. I would imagine that translates into when you call about a place too, right? Because I mean, when you're looking for a place, you're not twiddling your thumbs hoping they call you back, right?
No.
You need that 24 hours.
No, especially when you if I go through and I look and I'm like, hey man, this is checking all the boxes. That's the right neck of the woods, right? It's close to a train or it's close to my work. And I've gone through and I'm like, hey, all right. Like I'm going to take my time to hopefully get this individual's time to try to look at this place and get it locked down. Yeah, you want a response. And it doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes there's things left up that are already taken, for a while, and so that leans into the frustrations of the looking for a place, and it also leans into like where you set your expectations. Yeah, I think tenants' expectations. I know for myself, I have to manage them because I might not find that place, so I'm gonna have to take 2 buses now, or it's not like going like I'm going to buy in Richmond in the in the north side of it. I'm going to buy in that building. That's where I want to be. Yeah, you have to look and kind of out there. You're doing a little gold panning. Do you know what I mean? and anyway, you got to do it for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, with that, when you're searching, what is your general hierarchy like? You've got a son now, so obviously I would suggest you need 2 rooms, kind of thing. Yeah. So like, is that generally hierarchy? Like even before you had your kid, you're searching, what was your general hierarchy? Was it needs for like rooms, price is king, location, amenities? What are the things that, if you can give a loose top 3, because generally we assume that it's need. Example, as I used, you've got a child, so 2 rooms needed. Yeah, non-negotiable. Yeah, sort of like even with I say with owners with pets. Somebody has a pet, that's a non-negotiable. No one's going to get rid of their dog. Yeah, to move into like your apartment. Yeah, so like there's need, and then like location and condition and price. These are all they seem to sort of interchange a bit.
They do. I mean, price. I think that price. There's a ceiling, right? There's obviously down here sweet, but then you start to wonder about the condition and so on, but there's always a ceiling with price. I mean, you don't want to spend more than 40% of your income. So I can, going back to 20-year-old Adrian and 43-year-old Adrian, there are times when I needed a place on my own. Mm-hmm. There are times when I was moving in with a girlfriend or with friends, and so I don't know. I've been very, very relaxed in terms of looking for a place. Again, managing my expectations. Yeah. Now with the kid, it is totally different, but he's in a den right now. He's got 2 doors with glass on them and a sliding glass door for another wall. And we're making that work because we're where we want to be. Yeah. Location for work for me is good. So it really is fluid, what you're looking for. Sometimes then you've given notice or you're moving out of this place, mm-hmm. and that move out date is coming up real fast, and you don't have a place, then all of these hierarchy gets thrown out the window, and you're looking for, we need a place right now that we can live in.
Mm-hmm. So I guess it is more fluid.
Big time.
Generally speaking, there's no hard and fast.
Big time. There's bonuses, right? There's, hey, we got in sweet laundry, right on, cool. Or like, hey, the laundry's in the building, cool. Mm-hmm. Hey, there's a laundromat 2 doors down the street, cool. You know what I mean? They start to kind of go down. Like, I feel that the landlords have not the power, but not even the upper hand. They have the place, and we are the ones that need to present ourselves with a good credit rating, with a good job, with a smile on our face, and an adaptability to their, because it's going to be our home, but it really is their property, right? Yeah, so absolutely, I think fluidity is an important attribute for a tenant to adopt, and it's going to probably get you in there. Not lying, not saying you will be one thing and then being the other, but being accommodating. It's going to get you a place.
Yeah, it kind of gets to go both ways.
Big time.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're looking for a place, though, even if the price and location were good, what are some of the things that would just be an absolute deal breaker? Aside from, we just touched on kid or dog, but I mean, mm-hmm. like cleanliness or appliances not working or missing, for instance, like if there's no dishwasher versus if there is one, or anything like, are there any certain things that would just be absolute deal breakers, even if the price and location were solid, or even if you have mates who are also renting, certain things that people bring up, oh man, it's all good, but it had X, and just hell no.
Yeah, I mean, there's some things that an owner can't deal with. Is there construction right across the street that's probably going to go on for a while, right? Yeah. Are they digging up the water main on that street, and it's going to there's going to be no parking? Those are extra things that are outside of the building. But yeah, if I walk in and I can just smell, if there's a smell when I walk in or there's an odor, but I mean, a paint job isn't going to, I'm okay. I'm going to poke a hole in the wall and hang my picture. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A paint job isn't going to deter me. It's nice when you walk in and you smell fresh paint.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yep.
But again, the fluidity and the nature of where I'm at I'm 23 years of renting. And then there are times when I've gone from lease to lease to lease to lease, back to back. And there's a lot of renting in my life.
Yeah.
And for the foreseeable future, I'm going to be continuing to rent. No, that's the end of my thread. I have nothing else to say.
Fair enough.
Sipping coffee here.
With putting a hole in the wall with with that, maintenance and repairs is a big thing. It comes out. I do honestly think that a lot of the issues that come up between landlords and tenants is from maintenance and repairs and communication. I hammer communication on our podcast all the time. How do you feel landlords can best handle maintenance requests to keep tenants happy? Like, obviously fix it, but I mean, is there any specific timeline do you figure? Cost, anything really to like make sure that the place obviously is in proper working form, but like,
I understand. Yeah. Our current landlord does something that you did as well while we were renting from you, and that is once we've communicated to you that this is an issue, right? The toilet isn't flushing. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Received. Going to give the contractor your information. They will be in touch to book an appointment with you.
Yeah.
Because your job and the landlord's job, we don't need to talk anymore. I've told you what's going on. We need somebody that knows what's. And I've had landlords that are fix it all. I can do it. Duct tape, lipstick on a pig type of thing, and it's frustrating because when I have to say, man, what am I giving you my money for?
Yeah,
this is a lot of money that I'm giving you. So I should have a working toilet. There's certain things that I should really have.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and I really appreciated the way that you and our current landlord does it. We reach out, and then we're talking to a contractor who comes in. We had a plumber in a couple of months ago because the kitchen sink was leaking. He got on the phone with her once he was there, told her about the quotes. They figured it out. That's cool. It's not my money.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I need a working kitchen sink. He made it work. Yeah. That's it. I'm not signing paperwork. I'm not. That's you. I let you know there's an issue. You took care of it. Cool. Yeah. After 3 years of doing this, I know now, and we're so gifted with phones and stuff. I take a picture of everything so that they can see that it's not. Property managers and landlords know what goes wrong with things.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when writing a story about it can sometimes be a little bit too much. So snapping a couple of pics, like, hey, there's the water coming through the place it's not supposed to come through.
Fair enough, right? Yeah. So yeah, I guess getting it done efficiently and quickly.
Communication.
And keeping you in the loop. Because I mean, sometimes, for instance, using a fridge, like you can't just drop one of them off.
No.
So like they're communicating that yes, it's going to take X amount of days, but it has been handled.
Yeah.
I guess even including if it is going to be. So like, yeah, it's a sucky phone call. They have to call and say, hey man, I got your call, but it's going to be a week.
Yeah. Right? You got to measure the space. You got to order it. You got to get it delivered and installed. I take it.
Yeah. So now you had also mentioned about it's challenging sometimes when you have to say, why am I giving you my money? And now Greater Vancouver's market is quite expensive, obviously, everywhere. Although we are getting a little bit softer in the market, but not astronomically. Mm-hmm. What shows you that you're getting good value for your money when you're in a rental? So, I mean, we did touch on paint. I'm assuming if you came in and the place was recently painted or not completely scuffed up and all that stuff. But like, when you walk into a place is like, yeah, this is good value. If there is that, because I realize that Vancouver is really expensive.
Sure. State of appliances, flooring. I would pick a good floor over the paint on the walls. Paint on the walls, like I said, it's cool, but when has this been cleaned and or replaced? It's going to get the most wear and tear on it. I noticed with our place, I didn't really spot it at first, but along the baseboards, the flooring doesn't go all the way. There's a few corners where, literally the corners cut that you can see down to the subflooring.
Yeah.
And didn't spot it initially, but those kind of things are a little bit of a red flag. Like, you were saving on an inch of flooring. Do you know what I mean? What else are you saving on, right? There are transitions that are like an inch and a half. They feel like they're this tall. Like, did you take those from somewhere else? Did those used to be door frames? Like, I'm not sure what's going on here. So there are some things like, but the kitchen, we spend a lot of time in the kitchen.
Yeah, that's kind of the brain of the house.
Yeah,
like, all house parties end up at kitchens.
100%, man. Right? Like, does the fridge door open the right way? That one's always like, when I walk into somebody's house and it's blocking the door or something, like, they just shove that in there, right? And so the kitchen, I would say, would be pretty important.
Yeah, so you want to make sure that you'd say helps project value for money is making sure that no corners have been cut, such as flooring not lining up properly and all that stuff. But another major component being that everything in the kitchen works clean, makes sense, that sort of thing. Not the other janky door or cupboards and whatnot. Yeah,
the other red flag while looking at an apartment is when you're looking at one and it hasn't been cleaned yet. Yeah, I find that is like an automatic turnoff. I can't see myself. I can't picture myself in there. The oven's filthy. The counters are, and the landlord will be like, well, they're going to clean or we're going to do something. And it's like, you're not showing me
your best foot forward.
Really, it's kind of hard to picture that you are going to when I'm here looking at it. It seems like you're just more worried about making sure your rent is covered than the place being clean for me. So.
Yeah. Cleanliness is one of those ones that it always seems to be a wide battleground because what's clean to one person is horrendously dirty to another. I mean, we could all agree on certain things, like if the baseboards are covered in hair, that's dirty any way you cut it. Yeah. But other people, they'll see a streak on a mirror. Oh, that's not clean now. I was like, nah, that's leftover cleaner.
Yeah.
So that is a ongoing one. But
there was an attempt. We can fix that in about 10 seconds, right? Versus, going into the kitchen and running your finger along a counter and having grease on it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's also one of those things that I honestly suggest to a lot of our tenants moving out to just allow for them to either hire a professional cleaner, because that way, if it's not up to snuff, then there's someone to call like, hey, you missed a spot. Come on back. Or just talk to the landlord and be like, hey, I'm going to give it a quick once over, but go ahead and use part of my deposit to bring in a professional cleaner, because this way you can actually hold someone more accountable as opposed to like, well, it's clean in my world, but not yours. Right. Yeah. So it's interesting because a professional cleaner is generally, I'd suggest, a good idea for both landlords and tenants to use, especially for tenants moving out, because as you said, you moved in a lot of places. Yep. So after you packed up all your stuff, now you've got this empty place. You're dragging ass because you've been moving couches for 4 hours.
Big time. And if you're doing one of the brutal ones where you're same day out of the one place into the next place, you don't have time, energy, because the move, you're like, I got everything packed. Everything's definitely packed. And then you get half of your stuff out and you realize that you missed a closet. There's a storage locker. You're like, it's the scramble, right? Sometimes you get lucky and you get those keys a couple of days early, retro pay or whatever for your couple of days, and you can gradually do it. But even then, it's moving stressful, man. Moving, a lot of us renters don't have the money to pay for a mover. So it's friends, man. It's pizza and beers and hey, can you help me out, man? Do you know what I mean? And that's cyclical, and it's great. I just helped my brother-in-law move last weekend. He's moving in with a girl. He's excited. And I like it when I get to help out the person, because when it's my move, it's stressful. But when it's somebody else, I'm like, I don't know, is your stuff in boxes?
Good enough, right?
Figure it out. Here we go. We're chucking it in, man.
So, your brother-in-law is moving. That's pretty good. It's too bad he's not a fan of a good NFL team, though, right?
Well, I don't know if they are an NFL team. The Minnesota Vikings might. Is there a relegation? I think there's relegation, much like in other football. Yeah, they might have to play for the CFL next year.
You never know, man.
Yeah.
They're a terrible team. Oh, well. Anyways, for amenities and features.
Sorry. No offense to the CFL, by the way.
Yeah.
Uncalled for.
Don't get us canceled.
I'm so sorry.
Actually, a couple of my tenants are CFL.
So
Really don't
sorry.
get his
So
cap.
sorry. Great sport, great league. The Minnesota Vikings should just disappear into the history books.
So we were talking about the different buildings and stuff that you've obviously been through, a bunch of them. What are some of the main amenities and features that would really stick out to you between from building to building? Like, for instance, in-suite laundry or dishwasher, parking, storage. Actually, parking and storage is a good one, since I know that you currently have both.
Yeah.
But if you could only pick one, which one would you suggest is a higher up?
Oh, man, that's a really great question, Hayes. My storage locker is full, and I'm not allowed to put things in my parking spot other than my car.
Yeah, and that's a common building thing.
No, I know. Like, my storage locker is full, and we have, like, our square footage is quite big.
Yeah.
I would have to. I think because of experiences with cars on the street getting broken into and stuff, I would have to pick the parking spot.
Yeah.
Also, with just with accessibility for bringing your groceries up, moving anything up, I think the parking spot would win. I would cry a little losing a storage locker. Do you know what I mean? But I mean, even talking about the brother-in-law moving into the new place, they pay for their parking spot separate from their unit. They have like it's an additional thing. Ours is included in it. I mean, I suppose it could be built in, but it's like they were like, "Do you want a parking spot? Okay, you have to rent it for this much a month."
Yeah, that's also a thing that some of the buildings have been using, a little bit sneaky, to get around rent increases, because your home rent increase can only go up next year 2.3%, but your parking increase, there are no rules on it. So you like that parking stall, eh? How about we double it?
Wow.
Want to stay here? Now I'm getting that, extra 75 in this case,
Yeah.
which is more than 2.3.
Yeah.
Like the rent,
Yeah,
you mean?
yeah,
So
yeah,
there's a lot of screwing around, we'll say.
Yeah, fair enough.
And it's generally found in a lot of the purpose-built rentals, which is nice that we have a bunch of them, but there's some trickery
No doubt.
happening in there. Same with some of the water feature. They charge for water. They can raise that.
So that would be things that are like bonuses that I would look at. We're talking about like in-suite laundry and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Is water included? We have in our place, as you do in yours, we have a gas fireplace, and the gas is covered. So
Yeah.
our heat
Nice thing, yeah.
our heat during the winter, we don't turn the baseboards on, so I'm not paying my electrical bill actually goes down in the wintertime. There's little things like that you can't really look for, but they might be a reason why I decide to stay rather than move.
Yeah, little
There are things that would keep me in. I've had places in the past when living in basement suites where the internet, they're just like, we'll just loop you into our internet or something like that. A little, instead of like the parking thing being like we want more from you, a little bit of incentive sometimes. Maybe your place isn't that great. Maybe it's, the ceilings are a little low in the basement suite, but we're gonna pay for the water and the hydro or something like that. Rather than trying to penny pinch and
yeah. Well, it's interesting. Like last week, actually, on our podcast, our previous one, I touched on that there's some buildings that are charging now an exorbitant amount for the move-in fee, which is usually passed on to the tenant, right? Because you're moving, I'm not.
Yeah.
Right? But some of them are pushing up to like $450 plus per direction. So as a tenant, would that make you not move into a place compared to one? Like if you sacrifice, let's use a storage locker.
Yeah.
So this one has a storage locker, but that one with the storage locker is going to charge you $450 to move in, or you could charge the average, which is around $200 to move in. Man, over not having a lock, like that major move-in fee is not coming back. Would that push you away from a
rental? Yeah. I mean, I think that my saying this now, I think that my days of living in high rises that I'm going to take an elevator up to the 17th floor are done. I've done it a couple of times, and I'm good on that kind of rental living.
Yeah.
Because it's common. it's very you're in a dense area when you're in a building like that, right? You're generally in a downtown area, and I'm kind of moving away from that existence. But I had mostly, for the first maybe 15 years of renting, I had been in homes or 3-story walk-ups where the elevator, you were lucky if you had an elevator. You were probably carrying your junk up there, right? So my first move-in fee was probably Carnarvon on when I moved in with you were my property manager, and I was like, "What's a move-in fee?" Like, well, you got to book the elevator. Da, da, da. I was like, "Oh, okay." So yeah, now it would certainly be a question that I would ask, and it would have some weight, absolutely. Like, so if it's going to be $400 to move in and $400 to move out, maybe I'll take the place that's a 3-story walk-up, but I'll put that $800 towards a moving company, and I don't have to do anything.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know what I mean? Like,
a lot of pizza and beer.
Yeah, it's a lot of pizza and beer, man. Yeah, and like, who receives that money? Does that go to?
That's the strata.
Oh, good for them.
That's one of the ways that they make their money.
But fair enough.
What we touched on is that we think that some of these buildings are doing this to try to deter rentals. Because you can't say no rentals anymore. But if you make it super unattractive, okay, that's one way to get the tenants to not come.
So let me ask you this, and I would switch the. Now I'm going to ask you questions.
Oh, fair enough.
Let's say I sign off on this, and can I sneak move in? Do you know what I mean? Like, can I midnight move in, or do I have to? Is the $400 something that I sign and give when I sign the contract?
You generally will sign that ahead of time. It'll be in most people's contract, unless it's in the RTB1, which is the standard government one. And in my opinion, it's silent on a lot of things that it should not be silent on. Okay. But if you just try to sneak in there, a building will fine, and then of course.
They're going to find the owner.
Yeah, and of course the owner will send it back to you.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So, yeah, doing anything sneaky, especially since most buildings have cameras now, so they're going to know, right? We see people try to do the midnight move and that stuff all the time. Oh, they're not going to notice me. There's always a ninny. There's always going to be somebody who's like, I saw somebody doing blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, it will end up.
It'll come back.
It'll always come back.
Duly noted.
And that's how the stratas make their money. They love to find people. Which is funny because it leads to fairness and respect. Do you have any examples of times that the landlord made you feel especially respected, or on the flip side, especially disrespected? And, basically, and as I said, our show is more geared towards the landlord. So we're trying to make sure that, maybe they're doing something that didn't, like calling super early in the morning on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Maybe disrespectful feeling or something like.
Yeah.
Either one of those.
I had a place on 15th and Yukon. This is going back to early 2000s. And it was great. It was an old one of the old houses just up from City Hall. And we had a girlfriend at the time, and our friend rented it. It was the top floor. It was beautiful, and we got the landlord. It was a family that owned it, and they were across the alley on the back road. I got to be on quite good terms with the father. He was maybe in his 60s. He had a pool table in the garage. We would play pool every once in a while. We had developed a really good relationship. But our roommate needed to move out, and she needed to be on the other side of town, and my girlfriend and I found ourselves in need of a place. And he said, well, they have a place on 19th and Sophia. They're working on it. It's not finished yet, but they'll, we could move in. Yeah. So we looked at it, and not rotting carpets, but like the place was wet. It just felt wet. It was like, okay, we need
that's a red flag.
But we were in a situation where we trusted the individual, and we were promised that it was going to get worked on, so we moved in, and weeks passed and months passed, and nothing happened. And it was conversations, and there was a suite upstairs. And we could hear them up there working on it. They would be working up there 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. And it just felt, it was a bit of a betrayal.
Like you were sort of on the back burner.
Yeah, we were very much put on the back burner. So that would be my example of a little bit of distrust. If you're gonna do something, do it. If not, then there was a lot of. This is a little bit before texting, but there were a lot of unanswered phone calls and stuff that made us feel like we were kind of being left in the lurch. Yeah. And on the flip side of that, on the positive side, our current landlord, we're going through a struggle right now, and we let our landlord know. And she was very positive in responding to the fact my wife's off work. She's ill right now, so She's freezing our rent. She's taking care of a couple of small issues around the house. We just felt very heard, and the things she hasn't gotten to the things yet, but the response was such that we know it's going to happen. It was really positive, and communication. Just tell us if you can't. That's okay. It's okay to ask, right? You're allowed to ask.
Absolutely.
We asked about screens because the big sliding glass doors and the bugs are coming in, and she got it done. It took a month and maybe 5 weeks, but it's done. Now I'm going to stay through next summer because we've got screens. And
so it helped you make a decision to stick around, right?
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
And it's funny you say it because, as I said earlier, I hammer about communication all the time, but being heard, that's an important one. And that's what I was saying. Like, a lot of the conflicts that happen is because no one picks up the phone. They don't reply to that text message or email. And it's like, you're just sending it out into the void type of thing, right? And if you're not heard, then it starts to piss people off.
Yeah, big time.
Right?
Big time. Because that's, I understand that the property is the owner's and it is theirs and it costs them money every month, whether it's a mortgage payment and insurance and all that kind of stuff. But as a tenant, for a period of time, it's our home. And when you walk into your home and you see that thing that isn't taken care of, that every day, every morning you wake up, every night, it builds an unnecessary
animosity.
And to emphasize, in your home.
Yeah.
That's where you live. So it really amplifies the mistrust or the discontent, right? When that's where you live. So, yeah.
So you had actually very much at the top of the show had touched a bit on transparency. Other than, a SkyTrain running right beside your place, what are other really important factors that you think a landlord should be very transparent on before you sign a lease?
Something that I've learned because we were renting a place. You were the property manager when the owner had to sell. Yeah. So this was going to be our future home. My wife's pregnant. We kicked the brother-in-law out who we were living with. Yeah. I painted the room for the nursery, right?
Yeah.
And then the owner came to you and said he needed money and he had to sell.
Yeah.
Totally. That's not the owner's fault that we're going to have to move.
Yeah.
But it sucked. It was like, I was just gearing up. This was going to be home for a while. We were good friends with the neighbors. This felt good. Okay, gotta go. The next place I looked at, that was one of the first questions. Like, hey, this place is great. We like this place, but are we going to be able to do what we need to do here? Are we going to be able to put 4 or 5 years into this place while we think about our next steps? And the current landlord, Haley, was very straightforward. This has been her investment property for years. She plans on keeping it. She has no interest in selling it. Yeah. Now, I understand that could change at any point.
Of course.
but it all of a sudden, because it's happened to me, now I'm I want to know that. I want to know if you're just looking to flip.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
If you're temporary, holding till the market goes up.
Exactly.
You'd like to know that ahead of time.
Yeah, absolutely, right?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense because, what it comes down to is that is your home. You may not own it, but you're cleaning it, taking care of it.
Yeah,
that's your home.
Yeah.
So transparency on what's going on as best can for the future absolutely makes sense.
And the rest of it, you always want to know. I'm always curious. Why did the last people leave? Right, but.
That's a good question to ask, though.
It is, but it could be everyone's different, right? So the previous tenants might have had something that really bothered them. It might have been that too much sunlight in the morning. I don't give a hoot. You know what I mean? I'll pull you know what I mean? People can have issues, and they can have issues with the landlord that I might not have that same issue with. So there's a little bit of curiosity, but at the same time with a grain of salt. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so overall, since we've been talking about your illustrious career of renting.
Thank you.
For landlords, what would you say some of the best pieces of advice is to improve their relationships with tenants, get good tenants, healthy, respectful relationships? What would you say some of the best pieces of advice for landlords would be to make sure that they're doing their job right?
I think that a lot of landlords would do well from having some experience with a property manager. My experiences with properties that were managed versus properties that were owned and managed. It's a more positive weight on this side. I don't mind rules. I don't mind structure as long as it's all the same.
Yeah,
and
law.
It can, but it's law, but it can tend to get gray out there. Oh, my cousin said that, you only have to give 3 weeks notice. My brother-in-law, what you guys know, what the law that you have to understand and know is really important. And I think that that's the one thing that's lacking in our whole rental system is the across the board knowledge of what the rules are.
Yeah, it seems to always change, but they don't announce that. Like, for instance, you just talked about notice. For a landlord to move in, it's moved from 2 months to 3 months to 4 months, now back to 3 months. And like most people are not aware of that because they don't just announce, "Hey, we've been screwing with the rules."
And when we got not evicted, but when that owner sold and we had to move out, it was, we get a month free, but which month is it? And the lingo can get a little bit confusing.
Absolutely. Some legalese, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that any landlord would benefit from a bit of an experience with a property manager to know what the rules are. And then, good just transparency and communication across the board.
Yeah, transparency and communication, I think, is helpful for life.
You're not going to lose. You're not going to lose. It's not going to hurt you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, wicked, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. I hope that some of the landlords that have been listening have kind of got a better view onto the other side of the coin, if you will. Because, you hear about all the conflict all the time, and it never hurts to see what the other guy's thinking to you, because maybe it'll reduce the conflicts.
Yeah.
Right? So, wicked. Well, thank you very much. And thank you if you've been listening this long. We really appreciate you listening. My name is Hayes. This has been Bamboo, Vancouver's property management and investment podcast.
Thanks for the coffee.